Thanks, Hugh. Good evening, everyone. Football possesses that rare gift, doesn't it? 1 minute you're the cock of the walk, the next minute you're lower than a snake's belly. 4 weeks ago, Mikel Arteta was under intense scrutiny. He was favourite to be the next manager to lose his job. Now he's on the verge of 4 straight Premier League wins for the first time in his career, and into the 4th round of the FA Cup that his team won in July, and is often the sanctuary for this football club, as Theo Walcott said earlier on in our clip that we will bring you a full extensive interview of on Sunday night in Up Front. But Arsenal's fans might want to wait a little bit longer before getting too excited. After losing to Everton on the 19th of December, Arsenal have beaten a jaded Chelsea, laboured to a win over Newcastle. They just about beat Brighton, with a much-changed team Brighton as well, and thrashed out of form West Bromwich Albion. And tonight they face a Palace team that seem to raise their game for the big boys, especially Wilfried Zaha, who has scored 4 goals in his last 11 games against the established elite. And tonight he lines up against a team who he could have joined. They declined to sign him. He stayed at Crystal Palace, and now he is determined to leave his mark on them. Here are the two teams, starting with Arsenal, the home team. Bernd Leno is their goalkeeper. Bellerin plays at right back. Holding is joined by David Luiz in the absence of Pablo Mari. There's no Kieran Tierney tonight. He's out because of a precaution. He's got a bit of muscle tightness. So Ainsley Maitland-Niles goes in at left back. In midfield, it's Granit Xhaka and Dani Ceballos. And then Bukayo Saka, Emil Smith-Rowe, only 20 years of age, and Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang support Alex Lacazette in attack. Crystal Palace have got Guaita in goal, Joel Ward, James Tompkins, Cheku Kouyate, Tyreek Mitchell. That is the back 4. In midfield, it's Townsend, MacArthur, Milivojevic, the captain, and Eberechi Eze, who was released by Arsenal at 13, and Christian Benteke, who has got 3 goals this season in the Premier League, alongside Wilfried Zaha with 8 up top. Our referee tonight is Andre Mariner, who hasn't shown a red card in his last 26 games. And before we start, all 22 players on the field and the officials from both clubs take the knee in a show of support for the fight against racism and social injustice. The whistle goes and we're off and underway. Game day returns this Saturday with 4 live Premier League commentaries and 1 on Sunday too. But tonight it's the Emirates, with Arsenal trying to connect 4. Arsenal in red-bodied jerseys, Crystal Palace in black with a couple of blue and white stripes, and alongside me in the commentary box is TalkSport's Tony Cascarino. And what are you expecting from Crystal Palace this evening?
Well, judging by the way this game starts, Sam, Crystal Palace has shown a bit of a venture. They've already got 4 bodies. Esse, obviously Zaha, Townsend and Christian Benteke all getting forward, so they're prepared to get bodies in danger areas. Christian Benteke won his first header against Holding. I expect that to be a really good battle tonight, Sam.
Arsenal shooting from left to right, and Crystal Palace from right to left, and Dani Ceballos has it in midfield, just short of the halfway line, sends it square out towards Ainsley Maitland-Niles. Over on the far side, the lefters, Arsenal look at it, he's playing in that left back role because of an absence of Kieran Tierney. Ball picked up in midfield by Dani Ceballos again, and swept forward looking for the run of Aubameyang, who tried to get in behind the rather high line that Crystal Palace were operating there. It was cleared away by Tompkins and up over the halfway line.
Yeah, Tompkins really well placed. Just looking at Arsenal's forward line, and obviously Saka on the right, Lacazette down the middle, and Aubameyang way left. And watching Emil Smith-Rowe trying to get forward, making that run from midfield, done that brilliantly so far since he's come into the team.
We're just approaching 2 minutes. The ball is with Rob Holding, just signed a brand new contract with Arsenal, sent down the right by Bellerin into the path of Saka. Saka sends it long towards the right hand side of the penalty area, and now it's with Bellerin into Emil Smith-Rowe, who's up high inside Crystal Palace territory, turning the ball back to Rob Holding, prematurely balding but nudging the ball forward into the younger Emil Smith-Rowe himself. Rob Holding, only 25 years of age. Here is Ceballos out towards the near touchline and runs the ball straight out of play in his pink boots, and then he rips off his gloves that he's wearing tonight and throws them onto the floor. The assistant in front of us, Scott Ledger, flagged for a Crystal Palace throw, and I don't think Dani Ceballos was too happy about it. You're listening to TalkSport.
And Crystal Palace with a throw-in from Tyrick Mitchell. Gets it to Christian Benteke. Arsenal win back possession.
And the ball is all the way back to David Luiz, who's on the halfway line. Arsenal were dreadful in terms of form up until their Chelsea win. 1 victory in 10 games. They were only 4 points above the relegation zone at one stage. This is Ceballos, who's been a big part of the heart of that midfield. There's a little bit of extra silk when he's in it. And Xhaka does the sort of more difficult, dogged work at the base of the midfield when he's in the team.
That's going to be a great battle tonight. Saka on the right up against Tyrick Mitchell, left back. You know, both blessed with lots and lots of pace.
Ceballos into Lacazette, just on the edge of the Crystal Palace penalty area. He works it wide towards the left, and Ainsley Maitland-Niles plays it against MacArthur, gets it back towards the far side. Xhaka sweeps it to Emil Smith-Rowe inside the area, across into the box, too close to the goalkeeper Guaita, and it's an easy catch for the blonde-haired Spaniard, who grabs the ball from the sky, races to the edge of the 18-yard box to take the pressure off his defender. 0-0, Arsenal against Crystal Palace, live on TalkSport.
Emil Smith-Rowe's touch there, come from the left-hand side, took it really well on his right foot, couldn't get a great delivery into the 18-yard box. Again, positioned really, really well, deep in the 18-yard box of Arsenal.
4th Premier League start in a row now for Emil Smith-Rowe, 20 years of age. He's already got 5 goals for Arsenal this season, which is a pretty good output for someone who hasn't played too often over the course of the campaign.
Yeah. Well, I'm just seeing Arsenal break out from the back, and Luiz and Holding. It's a strange pairing because David Luiz will always take a risk. I think Holding is a much more trusted centre half and has become a far better player. I have to remind myself, Sam, that he's only 25 years old and he's been around quite a while now at Arsenal.
Yeah, he has. They signed him from Bolton. I don't think anyone expected him to become one of the first names in the team sheet. He captained the team recently in the game against Everton, which was live on TalkSport. It's a quick move by Emil Smith-Rowe, sending the ball down the left touchline towards Maitland-Niles. His cross into the box, goes over the top of the crossbar and floats behind and away, behind the goal, away to our right-hand side. He seemed to perform pretty well in big games, didn't he, Rob Holding? I remember him coming into the team in an FA Cup final against Chelsea, doing very, very well. He played in the most recent FA Cup final as well, and similarly performed well. There's an interesting conversation going on here between Zaha and Benteke, just in front of Rob Holding. Quite a vocal exchange between the two Crystal Palace centre forwards. They're very close together. What's the reason behind that, Tony?
Well, obviously they're trying to hit Christian Benteke and getting Zaha around him, because he's not really looking to play on the left side, Zaha. He's getting far closer and playing nearly alongside Christian Benteke.
That's what they've been doing for the last couple of weeks. Zaha's been playing up alongside Benteke, but they were very close, weren't they, on this near side? They were sort of almost both running together, like they were tied together by a piece of string. Yeah,
well, they were closer than social distancing mark of 2 metres, weren't they, Sam?
They were, you're right. 0-0. You listen to TalkSport, 6 minutes play on this Thursday night. It's rainy Thursday night in North London. The pitch in absolute pristine condition. We were very lucky that we got to walk around the perimeter of the pitch a little bit earlier on, Tony and I, and it is absolutely perfect. Here is Bellerin down the right, trying to take on Eze, and he just gets back into position and nudges the ball out of play on this near side. It remains goalless, and Bellerin will take it on this right side. 3 assists this season, and a bit of a problem with the throw-in before Christmas, didn't he, Hector Bellerin? But he was a little bit more comfortable with it on that occasion, and Arsenal have possession on the halfway line. Out wide to the left, and Maitland-Niles, who's getting forward again. He's moving up towards the edge of the area, plays a 1-2 with Lacazette, then try to play it out wide to Bukayo Saka, but his ball out towards that right-hand side was cut out by Tyrick Mitchell. Mitchell then has to defend again as Saka comes back forward into Emil Smith-Rowe, who takes it on down the right-hand side. Milivojevic comes across and nudges it out of play, and it's away for a throw-in level with the edge of the penalty area.
You can already see see, this is going to be a really tight affair because there's not much space available. Maitland-Niles in the opening few minutes of the game has made 2 great runs. First one, it wasn't a particularly good cross. Second one, he's made a great run, played a quick 1-2, and his final pass just lacked that little bit of quality, but 2 great bursts of pace forward.
Well, Palace have not been in particularly impressive form recently. They won their last Premier League game 2-0 against Sheffield United, as we mentioned, but that's only their second win in 9 Premier League games, and the other one was against West Bromwich Albion. And their biggest issue has been conceding goals, not something you would usually associate with the Roy Hodgson team, but only West Brom and Leeds United have conceded more than Crystal Palace's 29.
Well, that goes my logic of a coach being very well organised out the window, Sam.
Well, 7 of those did come in just one game, and 4 of them came against Chelsea, so there's 11. Here's Xhaka over on the far side, a couple of yards in from the touchline, a dreadful ball square which is cut out by Townsend. Now Tyreek Mitchell retrieves it, edge of the 18-yard box, forward to Townsend and then on to Milivojevic. Palace in possession here. We played just over 8 minutes on TalkSport, and all the fallout from this game will be on the sports bar later from 10 o'clock with Jason Cundy and with Andy Goldstein tonight from 10 p.m. 08717223344. TalkSport breakfast back tomorrow from 6 a.m. Alan Brazil in charge. Here's Eze moving forward into the number 10 position, gives it to Andros Townsend, who cuts in on his left foot, tries to whip it goalwards. It's over the top of the crossbar and it goes out of play and away for a goal kick.
I think Andros Townsend there was thinking he was playing Man City away at the Etihad when he smashed one in with his left foot from a long way out.
Bit too much swing on the left foot there, wasn't there? I mean, it just seemed to go. I mean, maybe he's doing a bit too much yoga nowadays because he was very flexible.
Well, Sam, before the game I was watching him and he'd done a number of corners and a load of whipped-in balls in set pieces, like, you know, drilling the ball in certain areas. He did a huge number of them before the game started.
I know, Tony, you were complaining about the temperature tonight, but I will point out that Ray Lewington is wearing shorts on the touchline. Here is Luka Milivojevic, just 10 metres in front of the 18-yard box, away to our right. He's brought down under pressure from Saka, and a free kick has been given to Crystal Palace. Roy Hodgson sitting in his bucket seat of the technical area, just wringing his hands. I think he's particularly cold down there, trying to warm himself up. He needs one of those little patches that you rip off and keeps your hands heated. Ooh. Here is James Tompkins back in the team after a bit of time out. He was out for such a long time, but this is his 4th Premier League start in a row. The former West Ham man. It's his 100th Premier League start for Crystal Palace. He's nudged the ball forward towards the edge of the centre circle, on from Zaha, out wide to Mitchell, back into Milivojevic, and Crystal Palace just trying to build something here. Goes out wide to Joel Ward. Ward gets it back to Tompkins, and now here comes Kouyate, who's played most of the football that he's played this season at centre half. 16 of his 17 appearances before tonight in the Premier League had come as a centre back, which is not something that he did that often prior to the start of the campaign.
It's quite a strange one because you think of Gary Cahill
just coming back from injury though.
Yeah, coming back, Scott Dann, you know, 2 centre-half, natural centre-halves in there.
I think he's looked quite good though, Kouyate. I think he gives you a little bit extra as well, don't you? He's good in the air, he knows the position, but he also can come out with the ball a little bit better and pass into midfield. That sort of helps you out, doesn't it, when you're trying to be a little bit more progressive?
Yeah, I think it's a valid point. Look, we're seeing a number of players, midfielders these days, certainly in the modern game, play that position and do it quite comfortably. And one of the main reasons, Sam, they can do it is because so many teams play one up front or one down the middle. I'd love to see 2 against them more often. You know, and watch Newcastle take on Arsenal at the Emirates in the FA Cup, and you know, playing 2 and having Andy Carroll, who probably had one of his best games in a Newcastle shirt against Arsenal.
It was brilliant defensively, wasn't he? Here is Bellerin down the right hand side, cutting in towards the middle of the Palace half. He finds Xhaka out wide to Maitland-Niles, and Maitland-Niles just trying to help it on to Aubameyang. Again, Aubameyang not really been in the game up until this point, and he has his pocket pilfered by Joel Ward, and over the halfway line Crystal Palace come with Townsend trying to take on the look of Granit Xhaka. Xhaka goes across, nabs it, wins it back, and it's cleared away by Dani Ceballos, and it remains 0-0. Here comes Bellerin over the halfway line for Arsenal, into Saka round the corner to Lacazette, then back into Saka. It was a brilliant ball out towards the far side. Aubameyang's got it now inside the area, and that's a terrible ball to the edge of the area by Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. And now it's up to Benteke, who tries to turn, and it's played square into Eze, and he's encouraged to go forward by Ray Lewington, who's barking instructions inside the technical area. Eze runs up towards the edge of the box, lays it off to Zaha, who's got a bit of distance to make up now. On to Tyreek Mitchell, who's on the wide left. A bit slow, the Palace attack, and as a result of that, lots of red shirts got back to block up any passing lanes on the edge of the area, Tony.
Yeah, it's a strange start by Arsenal, because when they haven't got the ball, they're all 11 getting in position, making it hard for Palace, but Palace look like they got a little bit more. Certainly the Palace forwards have started better than the Arsenal forwards. Apart from Saka, Lacazette hadn't really touched the ball. Aubameyang, as you said, Sam, hasn't really made anything significant in the opening period.
Here's Eze making something significant happen for Crystal Palace, moves towards the edge of the area, lays it off towards Zaha, who tried to play it square to Townsend, but it was being held off, and illegally so by Granit Xhaka, who was tugging at the back of his shirt. Zaha appealed for it, eventually got it, and they have a free kick now 3 yards back from the edge of the D.
It's something that I think Xhaka, it's a very minimum touch.
It's a little bit soft, that, isn't it?
Well, it's very soft. I mean, it's a slight pull on the arm of Wilfried Zaha, but you do make one thing he's very guilty of, Xhaka, is a lot of fouls, Sam. You know, a lot of, and that particular one wasn't warranting a free kick for me. But he does generally give too many fouls in pretty poor areas around the 18-yard box, and this is one of them. Well,
and it's been left for the likes of Townsend and Eze to fight over, and Bernd Leno, the goalkeeper, is trying to line up his protection. He's got a 4-man wall. He's never kept a clean sheet against Crystal Palace, Bernd Leno. Eze, who would love to make his mark here after being released at 13, steps up right-footed and chips it well over the top of the crossbar.
Nowhere near. You know, at least 3 or 4 yards over the bar there from Eze. In a pretty decent position, especially with a greasy surface. You want to try and get it up and down as quick as you can. Didn't trouble Leno at all.
Well, the score's Arsenal 0, Crystal Palace 0 on TalkSport with Now TV. And don't forget, you can watch Arsenal versus Crystal Palace live right now with a Now TV Sky Sports Pass for just $9.99. Search Now TV. Arsenal trying to play out from the back. They do that through Ceballos, who runs through the 18-yard box and then gives it left to David Luiz, who's backing the starting 11 in the league tonight. Oh, ball almost ran through towards Zaha. Xhaka's brought him down the edge of the area. Again, Zaha is screaming at Andre Mariner for a free kick. Doesn't come his way this time. Zaha's pretty good at winning decent set pieces and penalties against Arsenal. I think he's won 2 penalties against them recently. Here's Bellerin, though, charging down Tyreek Mitchell's clearance. It comes to Smith Rowe, edge of the area, then to Aubameyang, who tries to tee it back up for Smith Rowe. And again, I haven't got a clue what he was trying to do there, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. Whatever it was, it didn't come off, and it's an Arsenal attack that flounders.
I'll tell you what it was, a real lack of belief and confidence, because it was there for a touch and hit. Last season, he would have taken that out of his feet and struck the ball at the goalkeeper or at the goal to try and score. Trying to play a ball like he did. Ooh.
Ainsley Maitland-Niles has just played a back pass from the right full-back position. He was running, sprinting back into the right full-back position. He hit it almost on the half volley back to his goalkeeper at such a rapid velocity. Leno couldn't get anywhere near it. It's gone straight out for a corner.
Well, he made a couple of dynamic runs, but he's given away the ball needlessly. He's actually been Crystal Palace's best player. Well, you know, on the ball, he's made a few passes that have been very erratic.
Well, it's a Crystal Palace corner from nothing really, and Townsend's going to take it. Koyate's at the back post. It's hoisted high towards him. He heads it down, almost came through to MacArthur, headed on by Tompkins, and then overhead kick away by Aubameyang out towards the halfway line. But it's Crystal Palace who recover the ball very quickly, and Tyreek Mitchell takes it wide towards this near side. A little prod out to Zaha, who's got Maitland-Niles for company. Maitland-Niles chops at him, free kick.
Yeah. I would say one thing. Arsenal started this game really poorly. They've not really looked at the races at all. They've given away a lot of the ball. There's a real lack of intensity, especially from the forward so far. And Palace look a better team.
Well, it's slightly concerning, I think, for Arsenal, the way they have started in this game. I think both of us were pretty keen to caution that nothing is sorted yet as far as their form is concerned, because the level of opposition that they beat was not stellar in the last few weeks. It certainly took a bit of pressure off Mikel Arteta, but ultimately they were just beat up at Chelsea side, who were actually going through a tough period at the time, and they still be. And we'll find out on Saturday Night Live on TalkSport 5:30 when they take on Fulham. But they're expected to beat Burnley, West Brom and Newcastle, I think. Here is David Luiz up towards the halfway line. Square ball to Holding takes it down. Mikel Arteta looks quite a frustrated figure in that dark black jacket and slate grey slacks. Looks like he's been working on his squats. His thighs look quite big, don't they? Here's Xhaka.
I had the biggest thighs ever, I think, Sam.
Did you?
I had big thighs.
Squats?
Not really, just big legs.
Naturally big legs, tree trunk legs. Here's Aubameyang racing down the left touchline, gets towards the byline, then chops back a left-footed cross into Lacazette, who tries to tee up for Smith Rowe, doesn't quite come off, gets it to Xhaka instead, edge of the D. Out wider right towards Bellerin now, who tries to take on Eze, almost went down under a little bit of contact there, didn't, and managed to keep the ball in Arsenal's possession. Saka gets it back to Ceballos, who takes on Zaha, then feeds Bellerin down the right by the byline, falls over, tries to scoop across in anyway, claims that he should have a corner and gets one.
Yeah, just about there, and Ceballos looks the one player who might make a bit of difference in the heart of the midfield of Arsenal. Arsenal got a corner. We just saw a burst of pace there by Aubameyang. You know, you see a player with so much qualities, and you just... I have this debate every time I watch him, because he's on the fringe of a game and then suddenly can come alive. You could say, well, that's a great quality to have. But Arsenal need a bit more than that from him.
Nearly 20 minutes played, it's 0-0, and he hasn't had a shot in anger, nor have Arsenal yet in this match. They have a corner now, though, and Bukayo Saka is going to take it. There's a bunch of red shirts darting towards the ball. It's very high towards Holding over his head, prodded away by the head of James Tompkins. Aubameyang's got it back left side from Ceballos, moves towards the edge of the area, cuts in, gets onto his right foot, shoots, pushed into the air by the goalkeeper, and then half punched away by Guaita, misses it, and then has to claim it at the third attempt.
Oh, he got away with that, Guaita. He punched it, but he didn't get any connection at all, and then luckily for him it bounced in into his arms. Aubameyang comes in on his right foot, and we've seen him do it so often, and just hits it. Guaita saves it, but it was never really in the place you'd expect Aubameyang to put it, in a corner. If he finds the corner, I think he scores there.
Well, it was a good little move, wasn't it, to sort of jink in off the left touchline onto his right foot and try and arc it in towards the goal. But as you say, far too central, the shot in the end, and easily caught by the goalkeeper. It's still 0-0, and you're listening to TalkSport with Sam Matterface and Tony Cascarino here at the Emirates Stadium tonight. The ball has been played infield to Saka. Saka trying to work a little shot away. Does get one straight down the middle of the goal, and another easy save, comfortable save for Guaita away to our right-hand side. So it's 0-0. And Arsenal, who have had a couple of shots in anger for the first time in the game, taking 20 minutes to do that. It's so far been a pretty even contest between these two.
It's been better. The last 5 minutes, that's, you know, from the home side's point of view, it's improved, because they started very slowly in this game.
Well, how have Arsenal managed to turn it round in recent weeks? What have they done differently? Well, the answer is not much, really. If you look at the statistics, there's not too many sort of standout numbers that are saying that things have changed. So they've had more bodies in the box, more touches in the box. Smith Rowe and Saka have operated more in line with what you would expect Arsenal to produce, and then Lacazette has been the main beneficiary of that. He's got 5 in 5. Tierney's been superb down that left-hand side, but there's still work to do. You know, in the last 3 games, apart from more sprints and better chance conversion, which has gone from 8% to 17%, most of the stats are pretty similar.
Yeah, well, football is like many sports, fine margins.
I suppose if you chance conversion rates come from 8% to 17%, then you've got a much better chance of winning some matches. Here is Zaha over the halfway line. He trundles into a left wing position, and it's picked up by Eze. Eze takes over, rolls his studs over the ball, then flicks it into the path of Zaha, who's about 20 yards from the edge of the penalty area, into Milivojevic, and now back to Eze on this near side. It's slow and slumbery from Crystal Palace, nothing really to get excited about as of yet. Zaha into Benteke, gets it, takes on a couple of challenges, tries to pull the trigger. Xhaka comes across, and Xhaka dives in and stops Zaha from opening the scoring, because it was a neat little move that. Benteke to Zaha, back again, good control of the feet.
Yeah, great one-touch football, and Zaha just can't get it out of his feet. He plays the 1-2, gets it off of Benteke, but a great block there by Xhaka in front of Zaha. Just couldn't get it out of his feet.
We've played the first quarter of the game, and it's still 0-0. Zaha's had an opportunity, Aubameyang's had an opportunity, but the pace of the game has not been at a regular Premier League tempo, has it?
No, I don't really know the reason why. I mean, look, we could all make the debate of there's lots of football and many matches have been played and very short rest periods, but it just feels that Arsenal play in fits and starts anyway.
They might have another one of those starts now as they come down the left. It's stopped and then cleared away. One by Ceballos, who thinks he got the ball in midfield. The referee has said he didn't. And Benteke, who was the victim of his over-eagerness, gets back to his feet. Crystal Palace have a free kick just in front of the halfway line. It's currently Arsenal 0, Crystal Palace 0. And for the latest odds, you can head to Betfair, the official betting partner of TalkSport's Premier League coverage, where right now you can get Arsenal to win at 5-4 on. The draw is 13-5. You can back Crystal Palace at 5-1. That's all thanks to Betfair. More ways to bet, more ways to win. 18+. BeGambleAware.org. This is TalkSport. Free kick then to Palace, just short of the halfway line, right of centre. Flicked forward by Tompkins towards Benteke, who glances a header on. Eze can't get on the end of it. Rob Holding will tidy up, and he'll kick downfield. Lacazette will chase with Koyate, but Koyate is very much the favourite here. Did stumble slightly, then waited, and very calmly headed it back towards his goalkeeper, Guaita. Or nudged it back towards his goalkeeper, Guaita, who plays it along the floor to Tompkins, and we're back where we started with that free kick. Guaita hoists it upfield into the evening sky, where the rain continues to tumble. We're on the halfway line, right at the back of the lower tier of the main stand here in Arsenal, just right of the halfway line. The roof, which is the next tier, is just above our heads as Zaha goes down the left-hand side into the penalty area. Bellerin comes across and nabs it for Arsenal. They attempt to clear. Saka helps them do that, and then they almost tie themselves in knots again on the edge of their own box with a bit of over-elaborate play before eventually they get it wide out towards Aubameyang on the far touchline. Xhaka into Ceballos. Pink boots on tonight for Dani Ceballos, who has never scored a Premier League goal for Arsenal. He's in his second season on loan from Real Madrid. Won more tackles and intercepted the ball more often than anybody else in an Arsenal jersey this season. Out wide to Aubameyang. They're now midway inside opposition's half, and Maitland-Niles has had the ball pinched from him again, and MacArthur is going down the right touchline now. Maitland-Niles has to funnel back into position and try and push him out for a throw-in on the halfway line. 0-0.
I always remember John Fashanu wearing white boots, sort of late 80s, early 90s.
Where was he playing? Wimbledon?
He was at Wimbledon, yeah, at that particular time. But I remember saying to him during the game, saying, "The white boots, John, what's with the white boots?" And he went, "You'll all be wearing them one day." And now we've got all these different colours, the yellows, the pinks.
Did you ever wear white boots? I don't imagine that you ever wore them.
No, I didn't know. I only had black boots. The one style for me, the Mike Tyson, just the black boots.
Here is Xhaka out towards the right-hand side, looking to get the ball to Bellerin. It's pinched by Eze, sent forward up towards the left side. Now Benteke is racing past Holding into the area. Benteke is shot right at the goalkeeper, who drops to his right and easily snaffles it up. There was zero power in that effort, and it's cleared away by goalkeeper Bernd Leno. 27 minutes gone, goalless on TalkSport. Saka has just made a little run in behind the Crystal Palace defence, but no one really on that wavelength to get the ball very quickly over the top. There is space to run into behind that Crystal Palace back line that have pushed up quite high at times.
Yeah, the ball gets stuck in midfield where someone's going to make that extra pass.
Emile Smith-Rowe down the right onto Bellerin, up to the byline. His cross is not the greatest. Aubameyang with a poor header away by Tompkins, and then there's a bit of a push by Ward on Aubameyang, who goes to ground. It goes into the right full-back position, and it's cleared away by Joel Ward. A little nudge by David Luiz into the back of Benteke. Free kick just in front of the centre circle inside Palace territory. Well, that was a chance, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, and Aubameyang just couldn't. It was a great ball played in, as I said, by Bellerin. He gets it into the far post area, dinks it, and Aubameyang tries to head it back across goal to Lacazette, and it's cleared by Crystal Palace. Seeing a replay of it, and it was a great ball. Just he's done the right thing, but Tompkins is really well placed to clear the header.
Was it difficult for Aubameyang there to get any power on it, because it wasn't fizzed in, it was sort of looped in towards the back post, wasn't it? So by the time it got to him, he had to try and get it back across the face of goal. He couldn't have tried an effort from that sort of distance. He was about 4 yards from goal at the back edge of the 6-yard box. Here is Zaha at the other end for Crystal Palace, trying to weave his way past Ceballos. Good tackle by him. Saka then brings it further clear, but won by MacArthur in midfield, and Palace have turned it over again. Arteta getting frustrated. Ball in by Tyreek Mitchell to Zaha, who goes down under pressure from Xhaka. Low ball in towards Benteke, who's leaning back and elevates the ball over the top of the crossbar from 7 yards out. Well, that was a chance. Tyreek Mitchell down the left-hand side towards the corner of the penalty area, pulls the ball back through the box. Benteke leaning backwards, elevates the ball over the top of the crossbar.
Boy, you can't get your body in a worse position as he comes onto the ball here, Benteke. He's leaning back and he tries to strike it first time with his left foot, and it's hit 5 yards over the bar. It was a great bit of play by Crystal Palace. It wasn't a fantastic opportunity, but you expect a better finish than what came from Christian Benteke there.
Well, that was a chance for Crystal Palace to take the lead after 29 minutes. That's probably the best chance that they've created in the game so far. But it's still 0-0 between Arsenal and Crystal Palace on TalkSport with WeBuyAnyCar.com. Sell your car in under an hour, leaving you with more time to enjoy the football. Here is Zaha. 3, 4, 5 yards in from the left touchline, midway inside Arsenal territory. He plays it square to Milivojevic. MacArthur then comes to the near side to take it. Mitchell tries to go down the left side on an underlap, but Zaha can't find him because it's too clogged up in the right full-back position, with Saka helping out Bellerin. Zaha goes at it again, and I think Saka has been detailed by Mikel Arteta to help out Bellerin when Zaha starts to peel away down this left-hand side and come out from the middle where he has been partnering Benteke.
Well, Wilfred Zaha really wants the ball tonight. You can tell every situation he's demanding it. He's trying to make something happen. It's not always coming off, but boy does he want the ball.
Aubameyang's had a shot saved from the edge of the area, and that's about the closest that Arsenal have come so far, but he's in behind here looking to attack Ward in the right full-back position. He lays it off to Maitland-Niles, who gets it stuck under his feet, goes back to Aubameyang again, left side of the Palace penalty area. Arsenal on the attack with Xhaka into Aubameyang, who's got a little bit of space, can't get it out from under his feet. Across comes MacArthur to tidy up and nudges it out and away for a corner.
Two great bits of play there down the left for Arsenal. Both times Aubameyang's involved, just can't get that final ball. He gets in the first occasion down the left, and he has to wait for the ball, and he ends up playing it back to Maitland-Niles. A good bit of play, not really created the final chance, but again Arsenal showing when Aubameyang does get on that ball and he does show that turn of pace that they can create something.
They can create things from set pieces, and they have bunched the goalkeeper here. They are surrounding Vicente Guaita underneath the crossbar. There's no one almost anywhere else inside the penalty area. They're just all in a knot underneath the crossbar surrounding the goalkeeper. Here is the corner from Saka, driven towards David Luiz, who heads it back straight into the arms of Guaita, who is stationed by his near post, and they look to spring very quickly, Crystal Palace, but there's no outball for them, and Guaita holds on to it, retreats a couple of steps, and then bowls it into Cheku Kouyate, the 31-year-old Senegalese, who goes into midfield and then on to Tyreek Mitchell. Why would they bunch the goalie like that? Why would they surround him and put him under pressure? Are they aware that he's a little bit flighty from balls that are sent under the crossbar?
I think his handling's really good.
Yeah,
It felt like it was Wimbledon of 1988-89. You know, everybody was underneath the goalkeeper.
It was very odd, wasn't it? I mean, there was 5 Arsenal jerseys, all of them not in the 6-yard box, but in that goal mouth area. If you think about when you used to play at school and that little muddy patch that used to be in front of the goal, they were all standing in that sort of zone, weren't they?
Yeah, they were. And to be fair, you know, David Luiz had a free header at the far post that he handed it back into the arms of Bernard Leno. Yeah,
because he peeled backwards and then headed the ball back into the arms of Vicente Guaita, didn't he? 0-0 the score. 33 minutes gone. You're listening to Talk Sport, and it is Granit Xhaka on the ball just left of the centre circle. No Kieran Tierney in the starting lineup tonight for Arsenal, and that's because of muscle tightness. It's just a precaution apparently, but I'm sure it will concern Arsenal supporters. A lot of them were talking about the fact, you know, this guy who's been so good for them, helped them out so much down that left-hand side, created that goal in the 119th minute against Newcastle with a run down the left-hand side. Why he played 2 hours of football on Saturday in the FA Cup? You know, could they have not made a change for that game? Could they have not done something slightly different? That was certainly the call from some of the Arsenal fans I was speaking to this week. But
hey, Sam, if he's not playing in the game and they lose, there'll be all the questions, why was Tierney not playing? You know, you have to go with a call sometimes, and if a player puts up his arm and says, I feel great, Gaffer, I'm going to play, I want to play, you know, tonight's slightly different. He's obviously had some sort of reaction to that amount of time he spent on the pitch.
Well, without him this evening, here's Emil Smith-Rowe down the right, low ball into the centre. Oh, it's been taken off the toes of Lacazette by Bellerin. The ball went into the penalty area from Smith-Rowe. It was a really good ball, actually. It was just behind Lacazette, who checked his run. He would be able to take that down, turn and hit it, but before he could pull the trigger, Bellerin came in from the edge of the box and took it away from him. What a mistake that was by the Spaniard.
Yeah, that's a bad decision, because Lacazette's found it very difficult to get into this game so far in this first half. That was a great opportunity. I'm sure the communication there's got to be spot on, but Bellerin, for me, has just taken the opportunity straight away when Lacazette was in a better position. It's a very difficult thing to do, Sam. When the ball's getting played in, you're running onto it, and it's played in at pace, and you've got to try and hit it and keep it low. It's a very difficult skill.
Could he have skipped over it and allowed it to run through to Lacazette? What would have been the best tactic?
Absolutely. Let it go. Lacazette was literally teeing himself up to shoot.
Townsend has it in the centre of the Palace midfield. He's played it wide to the left, and Crystal Palace talisman Zaha dances towards the byline. He tries to get the cross in. Bellerin stops it, hits the Ivorian and goes behind and away for an Arsenal goal kick away to our left. Up front going out this Sunday night, 17th of January, 9:30. Another documentary, an hour-long chat with a top striker, the former Arsenal, England and current Southampton star Theo Walcott, in conversation with me this Sunday night from 9:30. He's got some really interesting things to say about Arsenal and the lack of ambition towards the end of his time at the football club. And of course, the game that I think he's looking forward to most in the next few weeks will be Southampton against Arsenal, which is live on Talk Sport, not this Tuesday coming, but the Tuesday afterwards. We've got loads of live football upcoming, and you'll be able to access that particular programme, all our other great podcasts, and Talk Sport 2 via our app, which is available via the Google Play or the iOS store. Bukayo Saka going down the right side of the field is knocked over, nudged in the back by Cheikhou Kouyaté, and as a result of that, a free kick is given just in from the corner flag.
Yeah, he won himself a good free kick at the end there, Saka. Very little contact. Kouyaté came in the back of him, goes to ground. has got himself a reward of a decent free kick in a great position.
He's done brilliantly this season, Bukayo Saka, hasn't he? 19 years of age. He's been brilliant for a year and a half now for Arsenal. 15 assists in all competitions since the beginning of last season, and he's going to take this free kick, which is just in from the corner flag. So it's a bit like a corner, although they're a little bit further out from the 6-yard box, the bunch of Arsenal players in the area. It's towards Holding, headed away brilliantly by Tompkins, who read that really well. It was good marking from Tompkins, who nudges it out towards the near side and away for a throw to Arsenal level with the edge of the box.
That's a great area. That ball's been played literally, the goalkeeper can't come, and it's in an area where a defender's got to attack, and Crystal Palace have ended up getting it away, but I thought that was a great opportunity. Saka's balling was superb.
Arsenal so far haven't looked like opening the scoring here, but they have conceded a few chances. MacArthur onto Townsend. Townsend gets away from Maitland-Niles. Bit of space on the edge of the area for Zaha, who runs up towards Granit Xhaka, goes down under pressure from Granit Xhaka and wins a free kick. Get another one. And there is defensively still work to do for Arsenal. They've kept clean sheets against Newcastle, West Brom and Burnley, but they can set an unwanted club record here today, Tony, of 12 consecutive home Premier League games without a clean sheet.
Yeah, it seems strange. I'm just watching a replay of Zaha's challenge. Xhaka's made very little contact. Zaha went down. Again, a decent free kick in a position. Arsenal got to defend well this particular occasion.
Well, Eze didn't do particularly well with the last free kick that he had, which was a little bit more central. This is wider on the left-hand side. It's about 4 or 5 steps back from the 18-yard line, so he's going to try and whip this in towards the far post and see if someone can get on the end of it, and he's aimed it towards that far post. Tompkins does get on the end of it, hits the crossbar, comes back out to MacArthur, he slams it against Rob Holding, and it's cleared away by Arsenal, and it's a big let-off for Bernd Leno.
Well, that certainly got away. That was like you said, Sam, it was right-footed, it was bent in.
And here's Benteke on the volley on the edge of the area, chesting it down and smacking it goalwards, but again over the top of the bar.
Oh, it was a great opportunity for Tompkins, because as he played it in with his right foot, it's played at quite a slow pace, it's perfectly there. He gets above Holding, Tompkins gets it, and great contact with the header, and he just hits the bar. Leno is never going to get near it. Fortunately for Arsenal, it's bounced away and into safety.
Well, that was the best chance of the game so far, the closest we've come to an opening goal, and it was from Crystal Palace, the visitors here, who have been maybe even just a little bit more enterprising than the home team in the opening 39 minutes. They had the chance with Benteke, they've hit the bar now with Tompkins, but it remains goalless on Talk Sport.
Yeah, they've just shaded it for me as well. Just had that little bit more.
Well, they're pretty comfortable in the league, 11 points above the relegation zone, Crystal Palace, and only 7 points away from 6th place Southampton. The safety, I think, is probably assured, and I think that's only underscored a little bit of frustration amongst the Crystal Palace support that they went out of the FA Cup with an under-strength side at the weekend without having a shot on target. Because, ultimately, out of the FA Cup in January and safe in the Premier League, there's not really much for them to play for over the course of the rest of the season. There's a bit of a worry, really, isn't it, in terms of the momentum going out of your season this early?
Well, that's Sam, there's a lot of players playing for maybe contracts. Who's going to be kept at the football club? We talked about it before the game with the manager. There's no reason why Crystal Palace can't have a real go at the second part of the season.
Well, they did play well last season, didn't they? And then they came back after lockdown, having secured their safety, and they lost almost every game.
Yeah. So strange.
5 minutes to go before half-time.
They've got qualities. You can, you watch Crystal Palace and you know that if they get things right, they can really hurt you. Got a lot of pace in their team.
Well, they have come closest to opening the scoring here at the Emirates Stadium tonight on Talk Sport. An Emirates Stadium that, of course, has got no supporters in it. Lots of big red and white canvas banners that are over the top of the empty seats in the bottom tier of this wonderful 60,000-seater bowl on the edge of the North Circular Road in London. And there's quite a few people dotted around from Arsenal, from Crystal Palace, and the associated media involvement tonight. A lot of them actually chose to sit up at the back towards the stand because of the rain that was incessant earlier on today. There's a little bit less of that now. Here's Tyreek Mitchell with a cross into the area. Oh, it's a lovely header by Benteke, plucked out by Leno. That's a brilliant save. It's a really good save by Bernd Leno after a wonderful cross from Tyreek Mitchell down the left-hand side, getting to the byline, scooping it towards the edge of the 6-yard box. Benteke went up there. Leno made a really good save.
And it was fabulous play. What a great move by Crystal Palace, the best of the half so far. And I've got to say, Benteke makes more of the harder chances he's given, because that was a great flighted in ball by Tyreek Mitchell. It was hanging up there to be won. Christian Benteke just gets above the Arsenal back line, makes a great contact with a header. Probably a good height for Leno to make a save, but still saying that, it was a really good save.
James Tomkins has been booked for a foul here. It was slid through towards Bukayo Saka. It was a little bit late from Tomkins on Bukayo Saka, just inside the Crystal Palace half, and a free kick has been given as a result of that, and a yellow card for Tomkins. But we're still reflecting on that very, very good save from Bernd Leno, which plucked the Benteke header out of the sky and prevented Arsenal from going behind in this game. And let's be clear, Arsenal could already be behind in this game.
I've got to say, best move of the game. That was a really good move. It was done really a great tempo to the move. Tyreek Mitchell doesn't get forward too often, but when he did, he put in a wonderful ball. It was just so there to be won, and nearly gave him the lead.
Good cross, good header.
Yeah.
And a good save from the German goalkeeper, and it remains goalless as we approach half-time. We've got about 2 minutes to go before the break, and Emile Smith-Rowe is just trying to skate down that left touchline. He gets towards the corner flag and hits it against James Tomkins, and it goes out for the third Arsenal corner of the game. Be interesting to see how they line up for this one, Tony, whether or not they all crowd the goalkeeper again and get very close to him.
Yeah, well, I'm sure it's going to be exactly the same. I was just looking at Lacazette and thinking, he's hardly had a look-in in this. He's been on a good run of goals as well, Sam, hasn't he? And he's hardly had a look-in in this first, 40-odd minutes of the game.
Well, here is Saka. They're now bunched on the penalty spot, the Arsenal jerseys, and the black, red and blue of Palace trying to mark them. It's into the near post, chested away by Benteke, volleyed clear by Townsend, back down the middle by Ceballos, blocked by Benteke, and it bounces into the Arsenal half and all the way back to goalkeeper Bernd Leno, all the way to our left, who's wearing bright fluorescent orange tonight. He looks completely out of place with everything else in this stadium, which is all red and white. Even the Crystal Palace players have got a slash of red down the middle of their jerseys. It's so bright. It looks like something you might wear if you went cycling.
I can only think of the Only Fools and Horses luminous yellow in the one of the shows. But it's bright.
It is really bright, isn't it? Bellerin has the ball on the near touchline. He's going to throw this one in, looking for a bit of movement in front of him. Hasn't been too much of that in this first 45 minutes. 45 minutes in which Crystal Palace have had 3 very good opportunities to take the lead, but haven't, and that will disappoint, I think, Roy Hodgson, but they haven't been able to pierce this back line. Xhaka sends the ball long, out to the right. First time ball by Bellerin is into the near post. It's cut out by Kouyaté, who acrobatically scoops the ball behind, and it's out for a corner kick on this near side, and the last action of the first half will probably be an Arsenal corner.
Well, again, it's a position that Arsenal can get an advantage from, because Bellerin does that really well. Sometimes drifts into that winger position where Xhaka sees him, and he hits it first time across the face of the goal and gets the reward of a corner.
1 minute of added time at the end of the first 45. The Arsenal players, 5 of them, all on the edge of the area, dart towards the near post. It's flicked on by Xhaka, goes out on the far side. He's cleared away by Luka Milivojevic, and Dani Ceballos followed through with a slide tackle. Milivojevic went high up into the air and then went careering into the electronic advertising boards over on the far side. No yellow card forthcoming for Dani Ceballos, but it was a bit of a silly challenge.
Yeah, bit of a rush of blood there from Ceballos. Frustrating off. Both managers are going to go. I'm pretty sure Roy will be a little bit more happy than Mikel Arteta from what he's seen of his team in the first half.
Well, here is the goal kick to be taken away on the right side by the goalkeeper Vicente Guaita. All the players in a 10-15 yard box over on the far side, and as the ball is cleared over the halfway line, the half-time whistle blows, and the half-time whistle blows with everybody reflecting on the Crystal Palace chances in that first 45, because they certainly had the better of them. Benteke leaning back and missing the opportunity to convert from around about 8 yards out. James Tomkins hitting the top of the crossbar with a header, and Bernd Leno being called in to make a huge save from Christian Benteke just before the break. Well, in a time where we're all looking at ways to occupy our time away from work, Arsenal still have some business to do if they're going to master Connect 4. Arsenal 0, Crystal Palace 0. Thanks, Hugh. Yeah, Arsenal did have 4 corners in that first half, but it's the only statistic really in terms of attacking sense that they've mastered over Crystal Palace. They're actually winless in their past 4 Premier League meetings since a 4-1 win 3 years ago, in which all 4 goals had came in the first quarter of the game. But ultimately, in this first 45 minutes here, they haven't really shown enough to trouble Vicente Guaita and Tomkins and Kouyate at the heart of the Crystal Palace defence, but neither team has made a change at the start of the second half. Here is Xhaka moving towards the edge of the area. Crystal Palace give the ball away inside their own box. Aubameyang with a cross into the area, punched away by Guaita, comes back out to the edge of the area. Bellerin with a shot, and it's narrowly wide from the man who hasn't scored since that spectacular equaliser against Chelsea in January, but he might not get a better chance.
Cool, that sounded like, or felt like a bit of a rollicking from the dressing room in the first minute. They showed a bit more desire than they did in the first 45, Arsenal, and ends up with Bellerin on his right foot, just puts it wide of the post, but a good bit of play by Arsenal in the opening period of the second half.
Yeah, well, he hit it just wide of the left-hand upright as Guaita looks at it, but it was very close to being the opening goal of the game, and actually I think he probably should have done better with the shot. It seemed to just veer away from goal rather than go towards it. But there's no change at half-time, as we mentioned, so I'll run through the 2-11s for you, with Arsenal attacking the goal away to our left in this second half, with Leno in goal, Bellerin, Holding, Louise and Maitland-Niles as the back 4. Maitland-Niles had a particularly tricky time in that first 45 minutes. Xhaka and Ceballos in midfield, Emil Smith-Rowe as the 10, with Saka on one side, Aubameyang on the other, and Lacazette down the middle. And now Aubameyang is going down the left now, looking to cross the ball into Lacazette. It's headed away by Kouyate, picked up by Eze, and then taken on by Kouyate into midfield. And a little bit of dawdling by Joel Ward has allowed Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang to nab the ball back for Arsenal. They turn it over and take it into midfield with Dani Ceballos, who through the centre looks for Saka. Saka trying to get around the goalkeeper, who comes out very quickly, smothers the ball. It goes out for a corner. The Crystal Palace team, Guaita in goal, Ward, Tomkins, Kouyate and Mitchell, MacArthur and Milivojevic holding in midfield, with Townsend and Eze on the flanks, and it's Benteke and Zaha through the middle. We've got Tony Cascarino with us.
Yeah, and Arsenal got a corner. Again, they've started really brightly. And Aubameyang twice robbed possession off of Joe Ward in the right-back position. He's got to do that for his team. They need him to, do some of the ugly things in the game. Work hard. If it's not quite happened for you, make sure you roll your sleeves up and dig deep for your team.
Saka to take the corner kick then. Right hand goes into the air. Left foot strikes the ball. It's deep towards the far post, headed down by Holding, but no real purchase on the header, and it flies behind and away for a goal kick away to our left-hand side. First half touches of the ball. Lacazette 8, Benteke 26.
Yeah, I think Benteke's done okay in the game. He's had 2 really good chances to score tonight in the first half.
Tells you the difference between the two teams, though, doesn't it? The fact that the centre forward of Crystal Palace is having more joy on the ball than Lacazette in that first 45. But as you've already said, Arsenal have come out with a little bit more about them in the second half, and certainly have tried to put their foot on the accelerator as we've restarted here in those red shirts with white sleeves and white shorts, attacking the goal to our left. The black shirts of Crystal Palace with the thick blue and red stripes down the front, defending the goal away to our left-hand side. It's infield towards Bellerin. Bayer into David Luiz, who strides forward, drives into the Palace half. He's got options to his left in Maitland-Niles. He crosses the ball wickedly towards Lacazette, who lost his coordinates and lost the ball, and as a result, when it bounced behind him, he wasn't there and aware enough to be able to turn it home.
That was a great chance. Lacazette's got to get across his defender there. It's a fabulous ball in by David Luiz.
Here is Saka taking on the fullback Mitchell. Left-footed cross. Another good delivery into the area. Ward heads it into the air. Emil Smith Rowe's underneath it, but so is Koyate. Half cleared by Crystal Palace, who are under the cosh at the beginning of the second half here. Ball out towards the right. It's with Bayer in, and then back towards David Luiz, who allows the ball to run across his body, and then about 6 or 7 yards in from the touchline, he just travels and lays it off to Granit Xhaka, and Arsenal slow proceedings down again. You're listening to Talk Sport. Still 0-0 between Arsenal and Crystal Palace, and we've played 5 minutes of the second half. Crystal Palace having a bit of defending to do here. Smith Rowe works his way out wide into Saka, who's just inside the area. His cross isn't great. It's away by MacArthur, who just levered it away from the edge of the penalty area. It goes back into centre field, where the pressure continues from Arsenal, who move down the left with David Luiz approaching the edge of the area, pokes it between two Crystal Palace jerseys into Lacazette. Then Maitland-Niles toils on the left-hand side and is really out of control really throughout that entire period that he had the ball, and it goes out and away for a goal kick to our left-hand side. It remains goalless.
They've surprised Crystal Palace, I feel, in the start of this second half. I'm sure Mikel Arteta was very demanding in the dressing room at half-time, because they had to be way better than they were. And they've certainly played like it. There's a lot more intensity. The tempo of the play's far better.
Zaha tries to chest the ball down as it's cleared upfield by Ward, but it comes straight back through Arsenal. And again, this is a bit more like it, isn't it? There's so much more zip and energy about Arsenal at the start of this second half than there was in the entirety of that first 45 minutes. I complained to you that there wasn't enough tempo or intensity about their game, and certainly that has been addressed at the start of this second 45. Xhaka ghosting forward, tackled by MacArthur, turns the ball over. Now Crystal Palace can show their wares with Zaha tricking his way past Ceballos, getting to the edge of the D, feeding Benteke wide left. It just drives him a little bit too far to the left. He reduces the cross back into the centre, away by David Luiz. MacArthur tries to bring it down and then tries to scoot it back in field. The offside flag has gone up, and it's a bit of a waste really, because that ball from Zaha, after doing such good work once they'd turned it over, was just a little bit too heavy and drove Benteke wide.
Well, it's a one position you want Wolves are in, one against one, in a defender trying to face up to him, and he skips past him, plays the ball out to the left towards Benteke, just a tad too wide for him to get an instant shot in. Benteke ends up playing it back into the 18-yard box, but cleared by Arsenal. But this game's got a lot more about it in the second half.
0-0, and it's worth pointing out that after this game, Arsenal take on Newcastle on Monday night. Then they have an FA Cup game against either Southampton or Shrewsbury, and that's live on TalkSport at 12:30, not this Saturday, the following Saturday. The identity of their opponents worked out, I think, next Tuesday night. Then they have Southampton again live on TalkSport. Then they have Manchester United live on TalkSport. So we'll see a lot of them over the next few weeks here. Then again, we've got wall-to-wall football on this station, so what do you expect? Ball is out over on the far side. Benteke was chasing it. It goes out of play and away for an Arsenal throw deep inside their own half. It's Arsenal 0, Crystal Palace 0 on TalkSport with Now TV. Don't forget, you can watch Arsenal versus Crystal Palace live right now with a Now TV Sky Sports Pass for just $9.99. Search Now TV. Throw it, Bayer in to take it, far side, the Arsenal right. Looks a bit more youthful, doesn't he, Hector Bellerin? We saw him prior to the game and we thought he looked a little bit younger than before. What's he had done there? Has he shaved his facial hair off or cut his hair shorter?
I'm not too sure. But he's still very young. He's in mid-20s, isn't he, Bellerin?
25. It's not very young,
but that's mid-20s.
Yeah, it's not very young. I mean, it's not Bukayo Saka young, is it? Or Emil Smith Rowe young. He looks very fresh-faced anyway. He's got a very 90s haircut now, hasn't he? Almost curtains-like. And, well, he's just talking of curtains, it was almost curtains for him there, because he went straight through Tyreek Mitchell sliding on the floor and completely missed the ball. Ball is broken towards the near side. It's picked up by Ainsley Maitland-Niles. And Arsenal on the attack now with Aubameyang. And then Xhaka back to Aubameyang again. Aubameyang sends it out towards the right-hand side. Oh, I know what it is. Bellerin then helps it on. It comes back towards Saka, and then Bellerin again. I know exactly what it is. Why? He's got his shirt tucked in. He's the only player on the pitch with his shirt tucked in into his shorts, isn't he?
Yeah, well, I hadn't noticed this, Sam. I'm trying to watch the football.
Ball is out over on the far side. Bellerin, shirt tucked in at the waist, sends it out towards the right side, and the blonde-haired figure of Emil Smith-Rowe into Rob Holding. Holding just in front of the centre circle, nudged it onto Lacazette, then lends it out towards Ceballos, back to Xhaka, down the left-hand side, nudged back by Maitland-Niles, in towards Lacazette from Aubameyang and into the side netting anyway. The offside flag from Simon Long on the far side was very swiftly into the sky, but Lacazette sent it into the side netting anyway.
Yeah, it was good build-up play by Arsenal. Just see that Maitland-Niles just gets caught a yard offside. A good play again by Arsenal. You talked about tempo, Sam, and it's completely different from the first half. Arsenal started this second half in a much better vein.
Well, they'll want to get the first goal. They've won 7 of the last 8 matches in which they've scored the first goal, the exception of which was Liverpool. And they have started to score from open play again, haven't they? They went through a period in mid-November where they went 500 minutes without doing so. We have a pause in play here because Tyreek Mitchell is just having his left leg stretched out. Interesting that Patrick Van Aanholt, who's on the bench tonight, is now warming up down in front of us away to our left. He is an out-and-out left back, and I would have thought that when he came back into contention after injuries and suspensions that he would go straight back into the team. But Mitchell obviously has played very well out on that far side, so Roy Hodgson has kept faith with him. They seem to have gone through their medical checks and he's back and moving again, and we get back underway with a goal kick for Guaita. They've discovered a couple of good fullbacks over the years, haven't they, Crystal Palace? Wan-Bissaka. Being another one of those that have graduated from the Crystal Palace Academy. Here is David Luiz. His contract expires at the end of the season, expected to move on after that. Rob Holding, who's just signed a new one and has committed his future until 2024. A new extension for him, so he'll be around for a little while yet. Up to Maitland-Niles, under pressure from James McArthur. And then in by Xhaka towards the goalkeeper Leno, and they'll build from the back again, Arsenal, with 12 minutes played in the second half with Sam Matterface and Tony Cascarino at the Emirates Stadium tonight. On a chilly night in London. All the football reporters that are here with their laptops out are hugging their newly poured half-time cups of tea and coffee and their big fluffy hats on tonight, keeping their heads warm. Here is Xhaka sending the ball towards the edge of the 18-yard box. Cut out this time by Palace. Zaha tries to escape. Xhaka, who's had a bit of a tussle with Zaha over the first 45 minutes, has pulled him back. Wilfried Zaha, who's got those star tattoos round his neck, is standing waiting for a decision to go his way. It does. It's a free kick just in front of the centre circle. How long before Mikel Arteta turns to Thomas Partey, who's only played 279 minutes in the Premier League since his move from Atletico Madrid?
I'd be trying to get him on now, if you're asking me, Sam, because I think they need a new dynamism in midfield. Someone who's going to try and break from deep areas, make things happen, because Arsenal have been better in the second half, but I do feel there needs to be threats in other areas, and it's not just from the front three.
McArthur, after a free kick, goes straight to an Arsenal player. It's headed away and McArthur retrieves it. On the halfway line is Joel Ward. McArthur's going backwards rather than forwards, and all the way backwards to his goalkeeper Guaita, away to our left hand side. If Palace do avoid defeat today, then it will be the first time that Palace have gone 5 or more unbeaten games against a Big Six team, and that Big Six team is Arsenal. Flick on by Benteke. Offside flag is up. Another pause in play. Jaro Riedewald is just warming up in front of us, just stretches out his groin, then runs down into the tunnel. I wonder whether or not he's going to get himself kitted out to maybe be a change in this second half. Away to our left hand side, Arsenal warming up Willian and Thomas Partey and Joe Willock, I think that is, down there as well. And Jordan Ayew is stretching off, getting ready to maybe enter the fray and maybe help out up front. Benteke's got through a lot of work so far, but it remains goalless, and we're heading into the final half hour live on Talk Sport. Here is Rob Holding flying the ball from one corner of the centre circle out towards the left corner of the attack as Arsenal look at it. Cleared away by Ward, but comes back through Xhaka to Aubameyang, who travels to the central area of the Palace half into Smith Rowe, back to goal, flicks it out wide, collected by Bellerin back into the centre. Now it's with Holding, and his ball is just too heavy. It's tucked away by Mitchell. It's out for a throw level with the edge of the penalty area. It remains 0-0.
Yeah, again Arsenal trying to get down that right side. Bellerin more often than not is pushing further forward now, and Emil Smith Rowe just trying to find them pockets of spaces to try and make a difference.
Maitland-Niles brings the ball down but can't take on Joel Ward, and Ward does really well to get it clear. He started 4 of the last 6 Premier League games now, Joel Ward, slowly returning from a groin injury that had then seen him lose out to Nathaniel Klein, who I think he's going to sign a new contract actually. His contract runs out in January because he joined on a free transfer after being released from Liverpool, and he was training with the club. And he's done all right since coming back into the fray, Nathaniel Klein, but Joel Ward is determined to hold on to his place. Got it back after Wan-Bissaka went to Manchester United and doesn't really want to give it up.
There's a lot of senior pros are going to be having a strange summer this year, isn't there, Sam? Contracts are ending, and I'm not sure clubs will give them the demands. You mentioned David Luiz and the sort of money they're on, the budgets these clubs have got. I think there'll be a big change this summer. Yeah,
you and I were talking about that prior to the start of proceedings, and we wondered whether or not a team like Crystal Palace might pick up a few bargains here and there. Here is Ceballos across to David Luiz. Luiz curling it out to Hector Bellerin, and then it goes back to Rob Holding, and he just trundles slowly down the right hand side. In it goes from Smith Rowe on to Bukayo Saka then tries to turn it round the corner for Bellerin, who runs at Mitchell, then into the area. Saka receives it, lays it off to Lacazette, played back towards Bellerin, cut out though by MacArthur. Smith Rowe doesn't allow them to escape. Crystal Palace keeps hold of the ball and keeps the pressure on. They come back through the middle, and Smith Rowe helps it on towards Bellerin. Poor ball, and easily cut out by Milivojevic, but he can't find Benteke. It needed a bigger, sharper ball over the top for Benteke to run into, and David Luiz gobbled up what was in the end a tame effort. Here comes Aubameyang, moving in towards the edge of the penalty area, plays it square to Xhaka, back to Ceballos. He's got room to get a shot away here. Instead he scoops it wide out to Bellerin, one touch to set it, and then lays it back towards the edge of the area, waiting for Xhaka, who was dawdling, and Zaha as a result won the ball, and well, he ran away with it, but then he played it too heftily to Eze.
You just made a point. The ball over the top was on. That ball is on nearly every time now for Crystal Palace. Play it in the space behind Rob Holding and David Luiz. Both fullbacks are nearly, they're playing as wingers. They're very close to their wide men. We've got Maitland-Niles on the left here. He's nearly in the left wing position. And in the right back position, I'm looking at Bellerin, who's in the central midfield. So it's on to play in behind.
And Crystal Palace declined to do that, which is why Benteke was frustrated, and so was Ray Lewington down in front of us. 0-0 the score. 18 minutes gone. Here's Bellerin, Lacazette. Again, too tight on the edge of the area, cut out. Holding's nipped in though ahead of Zaha, played it wide to the left, changed the angle of the attack. Maitland-Niles tries to step in on his right foot, still going to the edge of the area, right-footed shot straight down the throat of the goalkeeper. A little bit more inventive by Ainsley Maitland-Niles, very laid-back character, but showed a bit of urgency there.
And again, it was a short ball by Crystal Palace, trying to feed the ball into Wilf Zaha, and gets robbed of possession. Wilf has got to try and turn Rob Holding or David Luiz. It's on for him tonight.
Eze picking it up in midfield, plays it down that left channel for Zaha. Bit too heavy this time, and it runs all the way through to Bernd Leno. A little thumbs up though from Zaha, because he knows that that's the right ball. Yeah,
exactly. It's got to be the ball for him tonight. So he's got to be brave enough to stand a little bit further forward and try and anticipate the pass. and get in the space. It's on
given
now.
away by Xhaka. Cheaply, on from Eze, down to Zaha in the left channel, attacking the Arsenal back line now. He cuts back infield, takes on Xhaka, holds him up well, Xhaka, sends the ball out on the far side, and it goes eventually over towards the byline. Tyreek Mitchell and Saka now racing to try and keep it in. It goes out for a Crystal Palace throw. And Zaha, who's down in a crumpled heap on the touchline, will wait here and get back to his feet slowly as a change is about to be made by Arsenal, and that change is the end of the night for Ainsley Maitland-Niles. It means that Bukayo Saka will go out to left back, I think, and Pepe, who's coming on, will go and play out over on the right hand side.
Yeah, it wasn't the greatest night for Maitland-Niles. Had some good moments, gave away possession a bit too often. And now we're seeing Pepe go on, as Sam said, in the right wing position. And we see Saka go as left back.
What have you made of Nicola Pepe over the course of his season and a half at Arsenal? £72 million worth?
Well, no, very raw. You know, he's a young man. He's learning his trade. I think sometimes he just has the wrong decision. He takes a touch when he doesn't need it. And when he does need to take it, there's other times I think he gets that wrong. He needs to be coached really well, Sam, because he's a player there.
Here comes Aubameyang, played forward through the thirds by Arsenal. He picks out Pepe over on the far side, who's racing towards the corner flag. He just keeps it in by the byline. He sets back towards Bellerin, who's on the right angle of the penalty area. Xhaka, Bellerin, slowing it down again. Arsenal, unnecessarily so. They needed to get it into the box. They didn't do that. It's gone wide again. As a result of that, Lacazette has hardly been in the game tonight.
Yeah.
And it's all the way back to the halfway line. Again, they change the angle and go down the left this time. On to Saka, who might be a little bit of a different threat for Joel Ward and Townsend to deal with in that right full-back and right midfield area for Crystal Palace. 20 minutes gone in the second half. A terrible ball by Xhaka, straight to Eze. And now Benteke has raced clear up on the halfway line. He's got Zaha in front of him, and then he's overhit the ball. Luckily for him, it's fallen to Townsend. Good recovery challenge by Granit Xhaka, and Arsenal got it back again. A couple of moments there, though, where Crystal Palace have got into good zones, and then that final ball or a heavy touch has just cost them.
Yeah, there were two great opportunities, and it just petered out.
Here is Emil Smith-Rowe down the right for Arsenal. A poor cross into the box, cut out by Tompkins, collected by Milivojevic. After a bright start to the second half, Arsenal have just lost their way again, Tony.
Yes. I think it'd be interesting to see the position Aubameyang plays. Will he get a little bit more closer to Lacazette? Because I think he needs a bit of help.
Oh, David Luiz, what's he done here? He said something and done something to Wilfried Zaha. And he's now gone to apologise for it. But there was a bit of a collision on the halfway line. A yellow card has come out for David Luiz. And Zaha, he's often furious, but he was particularly upset at this junction. Oh, well, the ball had completely gone. There was just a kick out, wasn't there, by David Luiz? It was a silly challenge.
Yeah, it was a rash challenge, and Wilf gets taken from behind, and he just catches him with his knee in his face, and that was accidental, wasn't it? Yeah, accidental. It wasn't deliberate. You're right, Sam. But Wilf does seem to get up a bit too often, getting up like he wants to fight.
Yeah, it happens a lot, doesn't it?
He does it. He's doing it a lot.
He's always fighting the world. He's always angry and stressed about something, and quite happy to vocalise that to anyone who will listen, or anyone who actually doesn't want to listen, to be fair. Free kick has been given, just the yellow card then, and Ward sends it out towards the far side. Tompkins rises for a header. He was claiming that Holding actually pushed him to the ground. The referee said that wasn't the case, and play on is the call. Arsenal trying to bring it away, and through Xhaka they give it back to their goalkeeper. So it's currently Arsenal 0, Crystal Palace 0. For the latest odds, you can head to Betfair, the official betting partner of Talk Sport. Arsenal to win 6-4 on. The draw is 6-5 on. You can back Crystal Palace now at 11-2. It's all thanks to Betfair. More ways to bet, more ways to win. 18+, begambleaware.org. This is Talk Sport. Palace do punch above their weight, really, Tony, don't they? They started in 13th today, and they spent just £16 million this summer, which is only Brighton and Burnley spent less over the course of the summer campaign.
Yeah, I'm not sure Crystal Palace supporters will like that too much, Sam. They've been screaming out for years for Palace to show a bit more ambition.
Here is Ceballos forward towards Pepe, edge of the area, cut away by Koyate, and up towards Benteke, who first time rifles the ball into space for Zaha to chase, and Zaha now is racing into the penalty area. He's got Benteke at the far post if he can find him, and sliding in to nudge it over his own crossbar was Xhaka, who retreated really well and digs it out, and it's away for a corner.
Well, we talked about it earlier about the through ball, the ball just behind the Arsenal back line. I've got to say, Wilson's got away, and David Luiz is chasing him in flip-flops because he ain't getting nowhere near him. And it's cleared for a corner. Yeah,
it was a brilliant run by Wilfried Zaha, who's still upset about something and is now being told off by Andre Mariner, the referee. Corner will be taken on the near side. They're going to make another change here, and Thomas Partey is coming on for Dani Ceballos in the second change for Arsenal.
I think Mikel Arteta's really concerned about the way this game's going, because they look very vulnerable to the counter-attack, Arsenal.
Well, they've got a corner to deal with now, and Andros Townsend raises his right hand in the air, delivers the ball brilliantly into Benteke, takes the deflection off MacArthur, and then up into the arms of Leno. Well, the initial header from Benteke really should have been better. It should have been on target.
Sam, I said it earlier, the easier the chance, the worse that Christian Benteke makes of it, because that was a glorious chance to get a header on target, and he actually does such a poor header that it ends up falling to MacArthur, and he can't convert it. It just bounces in front of him awkwardly.
Well, what a chance that was for Christian Benteke, and he's had probably 3 good opportunities tonight. That a very good one from a corner kick, a set piece from Andros Townsend, floating the ball, arcing the ball towards the edge of the 6-yard box, headed towards goal, and then it hit MacArthur and it bobbled up into the arms of Leno. A foul by Lacazette is given on the edge of the centre circle. And I think you mentioned that Mikel Arteta is slightly concerned about the way the game is going. The way the game is going is that Arsenal, after that very, very brief flurry at the start of the second half, have just gone back into sort of slow tempo mode.
Yep. He'll be concerned because this game isn't looking good for him so far. You know, at the moment, I'm looking at Crystal Palace and thinking they look the more dangerous.
Benteke holding the ball up well, turning it to Wilfried Zaha. Zaha runs at the defence, lays it off to Townsend. Was there a foul on him then? Benteke gets a shot away. Zaha's got back to his feet after asking for a foul. Joel Ward wins the ball, but only after he brushes aside. Aubameyang free kick is given to Arsenal. And another stoppage in play in a much interrupted second half here on TalkSport. Remember, over the weekend, game day returns. It starts with Wolverhampton Wanderers against West Bromwich Albion, the first Black Country derby in 9 years. Dudley, born and bred, Sam Allardyce in charge of the Baggies, who've conceded 39 goals this season against a Wolverhampton Wanderers team that can't score for toffee at the moment.
No, well, obviously the massive loss to them is Raul Jimenez. Huge blow for Wolverhampton Wanderers.
Be a 4-4 draw on Saturday. I'm very much looking forward to that. That's a 12:30 kick-off. We start at 11 o'clock with game day. All the usual bits and pieces with Reshmin from 11 o'clock. And then later on in the day at 5:30, we've got Fulham against Chelsea, which is a huge game for Frank Lampard. It's a huge game this for Crystal Palace. It could be an opportunity for them to get 3 points at the Emirates Stadium again. Arsenal haven't beaten them in any of the last 4 meetings, and again it's going towards that sort of pattern with Crystal Palace more than punching their weight here. They've certainly had the better of the opportunities across the piece, Tony.
Yeah.
Here is Pepe into Partey. Partey, who's about 20 yards back from the edge of the 18-yard box, on to Bellerin, down the right, producing across to Smith Rowe, smuggled behind by Koyate. It's now an Arsenal corner.
Yeah, good play. And against Emil Smith Rowe, finds that little pocket and tries to whip it in first time with his right foot, and gains a corner for his club.
Roy Hodgson's only won 3 of his 18 Premier League matches against the Gunners. And he might feel, when he looks back at the tape of this one, that he really should have won this one. There's still an opportunity. We've got 18 minutes to go. You're listening to TalkSport. But it's Arsenal who are on the attack now with a corner taken over in the far corner of the field from us. And Bukayo Saka is going to execute this one. There are 5 Arsenal jerseys inside the box. One of them is Rob Holding with a header, which is over the top of the crossbar and narrowly wide. Big chance.
Yeah. Well, it's Rob Holding or no one, because in the Arsenal shirt he's certainly the biggest danger. aerially. He's a big lad and he gets up well. But I do feel he's the only one who looks like scoring from a set piece. Rob Holding.
Well, he is a player who, I must admit, has had a couple of opportunities from set pieces recently and been close to getting a goal. Hasn't scored yet this season. He has scored an own goal. In fact, he scored an own goal on the first day that he captained the football club at Everton. And although that's probably a little bit harsh on him because Dominic Calvert-Lewin did a lot to make the goal initially. There's going to be a change here for Crystal Palace, and we're going to see our first replacement for Roy Hodgson's team, and Jordan Ayew is about to come on. I would imagine that he will replace Christian Benteke.
Well, I mean, if you look at Christian Benteke's game, you'd say he's played really well tonight. He's led the line really well, but he's had 3 glorious chances and hasn't taken any of them.
Well, I suppose that's not too much of a surprise, is it? Because he's scored 3 goals so far this Premier League season and scored 3 Premier League goals in the previous 2 seasons. So that's 6 over 3 years.
Yeah, that is a pretty poor return. You're right, and Sam, it's his career at Crystal Palace in a nutshell in this game tonight, isn't it?
All 3 goals that he has scored, by the way, have been away from home. And he could have had one tonight, at least one. Jordan Ayew about to come on, and I did just get a flash of the board then. I'm sure I saw the 20 number. Anyway, Partey flicking it forward, away by Joel Ward, hooked further clear by MacArthur up to the halfway line, chested down by Benteke and then just falls to the floor, is robbed by Partey, picked up by Smith Rowe. Partey again moves forward towards the middle point of the Crystal Palace half, out wide to the left is Bellerin, still got that shirt tucked in, controls it, plays it infield to Partey once again, and then it's on to Xhaka. Xhaka moves up towards the edge of the area, bit of space out wide for Bukayo Saka, his low cross into the near post, his aim towards Lacazette, good work by Tompkins to get it clear. David Luiz stops Crystal Palace from counter-attacking, but it comes back to Townsend. He very quickly floats it out to Zaha on the halfway line. Eze wins it, he tries to spin in behind Zaha, but he's held up by Holding. He wants a foul, but the ball is cleared away. Goes out towards the far touchline. Eze's gone down after the challenge from Partey. Referee might stop the game here because Eze doesn't look particularly comfortable.
No. Well, I did look at Christian Benteke or Roy Hodgson after he just lost the ball in front of David Luiz, and he looked to the ground and then looked up to the heavens. And so I'm seeing a replay of Eze get brought down by Thomas Partey. Hopefully he's okay. It might be, well, it's definitely Christian Benteke coming off.
We're standing over on the far side, Christian Benteke. Has he gone off the field of play over on that far touchline?
Yeah, and obviously we're seeing if Eze's fit enough to continue.
Benteke, well, I can't even see where Benteke is. Is he over on the far side?
Yeah.
Staying as far away as possible while we get treatment to Eze. And then there he is. He's just walked over towards the middle of the Crystal Palace half. Yeah. Slowly eking his way towards the near touchline now because he knows that Jordan Ayew is just about to replace him. Well, he's trotted over. They haven't put the board up. So he's thinking, am I coming on? Am I coming off? What's happening? Now he's been sent back again. It's all a bit of a mishap, really. Now Andros Townsend is coming over towards this near side, and Benteke is going back into the fray. Oh dear. It was all a bit cumbersome, wasn't it? And Eze is just walking out towards the far side, or they might make a change here of who they were going to take off. That might be the issue, Tony, because Eze doesn't look particularly comfortable, and now they're having a bit of a rethink, or at least just checking to make sure that Eze can continue before they decide that Christian Benteke is definitely going to be the one they replace.
Yeah, a bit of confusion as we're waiting, but Eze's limping on the far side of the pitch down the left-hand side.
Doesn't look particularly as if he's going to be able to be dynamic, but I think they're still going to go with the Benteke for Ayew substitution as the ball is headed on by Benteke through the centre, looking for the run of Townsend. Cut out by goalkeeper Bernd Leno. Yeah, he is still a little bit moving gingerly, isn't he, over on that far side?
And they look like they're changing the number on the sideline, and he's certainly... It's a bit tentative.
Ball sent long by Arsenal, cut out by Tompkins, who's had a good game at the heart of the defence. Played back into Townsend, who immediately tells Joel Ward, get it forward. Zaha comes back towards halfway, onto MacArthur, who steps away from Lacazette and wriggles away from 2 or 3, and then onto Townsend, who feeds Zaha into the penalty area. There's space at the back post for Eze, but it's nudged away by Pepe, who did well to cover his fullback, and it's cleared away by Holding, but only as far as Kouyate, who's some distance out here and well out of position from his centre half berth, and as he gets it back to Milivojevic, Crystal Palace were a little bit careless in possession. Here is Saka now, forward down the being watched by Zaha. Zaha goes towards Townsend. Zaha, Townsend, Partey, all flying in with tackles. Saka clears towards the halfway line, flicked by Lacazette. Roy Hodgson goes to catch it. Oh, he's got to do better with his hand-eye coordination there, Roy. It spills out of his arms and into the dugouts. Somebody else goes to retrieve it. It was Dean Kiely, who went and caught it. Well, I suppose that's appropriate. Dean Kiely, former West Bromwich Albion and Portsmouth goalkeeper. Here is Benteke turning on the edge of the 18-yard box. Laid back to MacArthur. Bit of Crystal Palace pressure here for Arsenal to deal with 10 minutes to go before the end of the game. Eze onto Zaha, moving towards the edge of the box. Across in from Mitchell into the area. Saka almost got caught by Townsend, who was on his shoulder, and then it's cleared out on the near side by Aubameyang into the chest of Ward, who keeps them penned in towards their own half. 2 changes, 1 apiece. Jordan Ayew coming on for Christian Benteke. Finally, that is done. And also, it looks to me as if Eddie Nketiah is coming on for Alexandre Lacazette, who's been, let's say, on the periphery of things.
Yeah, and he's had a frustrating night, Lacazette, because he'd have loved to have the 3 chances that Christian Benteke's had. He has had really nothing to feed off of tonight.
He really hasn't, has he? I mean,
no.
He's, with all due respect, they haven't fed him anything for him to sort of try and profit from. 19 touches of the ball he's had tonight, in comparison to Benteke, who's had 42. Yeah, just shows you who's had more opportunity to shine.
Yeah, absolutely. And Lacazette is a goal scorer. You can tell by the way he takes chances. He wants to try and be in positions of danger, and he can be very clinical. Tonight he's had nothing, and you look at the forward line. You keep mentioning him, or I do, but Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, he's a talent, but when he's playing like he is tonight, he's not really having any effect on the game.
Here he is trying to feed Nketiah, cut out by MacArthur, cleared away to the halfway line. Crystal Palace need to be credited because they've defended diligently, but you would expect a team like Arsenal, with the craft that they possess, to be able to create more clear-cut chances. Here's Saka down the left trying to take on Joel Ward, who stuck to his task brilliantly. Saka is thwarted and it's cleared away by Ward. There's a little bit of a late challenge there by Saka, and they've got it back again. Arsenal went unpunished, and he's found Emile Smith-Rowe, who's flitted in and out of the game as well, and he's played the ball against Tompkins, and it's gone out for another Arsenal corner there. 7th of the game.
Yeah, well, Saka was a little bit lucky there, because he definitely failed Joe Ward, but they've got a reward of a corner,
and it'll be taken by Saka. I think you're right. I think they were a little bit fortunate to get away with that. And here they go again with that crowding of the goalkeeper. They're all inside. All the Arsenal players that are in the box, there's 5 of them, are all within a yard of the goal line. Holding's peeled off to the back post, and he wins a header. It's in towards the near post and headed forward by Xhaka. Comes back to Smith-Rowe, smacked from 20 yards into the body of a defender and cleared away. Well, they obviously had a clear plan of something they were trying to do there, and again a central defender peels off to the back post, gets a free header, puts it into an area, but there was no one really to capitalise.
Yeah, but that's the second time they've done that set piece corner tonight. I do wonder now, because what have you lost with Christian Benteke? He's now someone to be a leader of the line, and when the ball comes out of danger, he might be able to get a flick on or hold it up. They've lost that now, so I do wonder if the ball's going to keep coming back.
Well, they also lost someone to help defend in their own penalty area as well. He's very good with that. Here's Eze driving forward, though, played in by Ayew, skipping past Thomas Partey and towards the centre of the Arsenal half. He goes to ground, wants a free kick. Andre Mariner says play on, and Arsenal get the ball, come forward, and Nketiah is fighting with Joel Ward, and then Mikel Arteta came out of his technical area and kicked the ball away from Andros Townsend, who was still travelling with it. What on earth was he doing coming onto the field of play? And Townsend is complaining to the fourth official. The fourth official is having a word with Mikel Arteta. I mean, why on earth did he seem fit to get involved in that? He almost tackled Townsend. They say you're retired a long time and you always feel as if you're a manager, you're kicking every ball. I mean, almost literally there.
Yeah, well, maybe he's still on, in the squad. I don't know. Strange thing to do from a manager.
Ball's broken down on the edge of the 18-yard box, collected by Jordan Ayew out to the far side, and Eze. I once saw Jose Mourinho come out of his dugout at Old Trafford, and as a winger was flying down the left-hand side, come out 2-foot him and slide tackle him to the floor. But that was in a Soccer Aid charity game. Here comes Zaha, moving towards the edge of the area, trying to outpower Holding. He goes down, looking for a penalty. He has won 2 penalties in his last 4 appearances against Arsenal, and he wants another one there.
No, I don't think he's getting one there. I think he's looking to go to ground quite quickly.
I would tell you if we had any sort of communication about VAR, but as far as I can see, nothing is being checked as of yet. I think it was a bit soft, personally.
Yeah, it looked from this angle that he was already going down before a challenge came in.
5 minutes to go. It's still 0-0 between Arsenal and Crystal Palace on TalkSport on this Thursday evening. And Arsenal, who start the night in 11th position, had the sort of tantalising feeling that they could go level on points with Chelsea if they won here. Here's Xhaka shooting from distance, then he throws himself into a challenge with Milivojevic. It seemed a bit odd, really, and the ball is broken out towards the right hand side, and Townsend is chasing, but David Luiz is going to get there first, and it's all the way back to the goalkeeper and Bernd Leno. After we finished here, the opportunity to have your says available on the Sports Bar with Andy and Jason. 08717 22 33 44. That's the number to call. And remember, if you miss anything from TalkSport today, from 4 o'clock every single morning, you can download the TalkSport Daily Podcast, where you can reflect on all of the best bits of the day in bite-sized fashion. It is hosted by Andy Goldstein, and he's often quite witty.
Don't tell him that.
No, we try and keep that a secret. It's very good. And the Game Day preview podcast is out at the moment, previewing all the matches of the weekend. There are only 8 between now and Sunday, because Aston Villa against Everton has gone. And you may want to talk about that with Andy and Jason. 08717 22 33 44. The Game Day podcast and the TalkSport Daily podcast available from your usual providers, or you can get them on the TalkSport app. This is TalkSport, and it's Arsenal 0, Crystal Palace 0, with WeBuyAnyCar.com, rated excellent on Trustpilot with over 80,000 reviews. And here's Tony Cascarino. What are you expecting from the last 3 minutes?
Not much, Sam, because I said before the game started that I thought this would be a really tight encounter, very little given, and the result, I thought it could be 1-0 either way. I'm disappointed in Arsenal. They've been on a good run, but tonight they've showed there's still a lot of work for Mikel Arteta to do at this football club.
Saka trying to get round the back of Joel Ward, who defends well. I think Crystal Palace need to be credited for their defensive nous tonight, because, as I mentioned prior to the early part of the first half, they've conceded a lot of goals this season, 29 of them up until today. But they've defended well tonight, tussling for the ball, fighting for everything, scrapping to make sure that the Arsenal players can't find their rhythm again here as we approach the final 2.5 minutes of the game. It's TalkSport. It's 0-0. Arsenal against Crystal Palace. And I suppose it has been a little bit like a game between the 11th best team and the 13th best team in the league.
And, you touched on it, Sam. Give a lot of credit to Crystal Palace. I think they've made it really tough for Arsenal. They've been, getting bodies in front of the ball. There's always someone to make a challenge, someone to win a header. It's been a real good effort from them.
Here is a chance as Arsenal win a free kick down the left side, about 7 yards back from the edge of the penalty area, wide on the left, and a chance to craft from a set piece with 2 minutes remaining at the end of the 90 on TalkSport. Arsenal 0, Crystal Palace 0. Bukayo Saka about to float this ball left-footed, arcing it away from the goalkeeper, and then hope that Holding, David Luiz, Smith Rowe, Xhaka maybe even Eddie Nketiah can launch themselves at the ball and fire past Guaita. It's Saka doing just that. Guaita comes across, big haymaker to get it clear, comes out to Pepe, who shoots from distance well over the top of the crossbar, and no danger for the Spanish goalkeeper, and it remains goalless.
Sam, you asked me about Pepe, and I think one of his biggest issues is that he makes a lot of bad decisions, and that was typical when he comes on his left foot and he's trying to ping it in, a very difficult skill to do. Look, when you're on confidence and you're flying, maybe it'll fly in the top corner, but I thought that was a big ask.
Look, we've all had situations in our life where if we could have our time over again, we might have made different decisions. But Pepe, 72 million, or Zaha? Who would you have chosen now? I mean, because that was the option for Arsenal at the time. Who would you have picked?
Well, you've got one proven player and one potential player. I mean, I'm not being honest, Sam. I've never known Lille to sell anybody in that range of money. 70-odd million pound from a player from Lille. That is extraordinary. So I don't quite get it. Look, he's a young man. He's clearly a talent there, but would I want to pay that type of fee? I'd want a complete player for that, Sam. I wouldn't want to be paying for someone, that's still very unproven, who's been in League One in France. He was playing obviously very well for Arsenal to want him, but I did think at the time it was a hell of a lot of money for a Lille player.
I mean, he's 25. He's not that young, is he?
Yeah, well, again, yeah.
Here is Ayew trying to get the better of Partey, his international colleague with Ghana. Partey takes it away from his international teammate, plays it left into the path of Xhaka. 4 minutes of added time at the end of the game, of which we have just reached 90 minutes. So we are into stoppage time, and it's still Arsenal 0, Crystal Palace 0. Is there a chance of a late winner here at the Emirates? Well, it hasn't looked like that so far, to be honest. It's been a game where pretty much there hasn't been too much goal-scoring incident. Palace 1 win in 8. If it stays like this, another mishap down by the corner flag by Saka, and eventually goes out for a throw-in. And Palace have caused Arsenal a few problems again, as they did to Manchester City at the Etihad last January. They won at Old Trafford in September. They have got a habit of just every now and again causing an upset for the big boys.
Yeah, they had their game plan, and I said when it works and you've got a good coach who knows how to set up a team in Roy Hodgson, and they've done that tonight. And to be fair, Sam, they've had the best chances of the game.
Well, Arsenal came into this hoping for 4 straight Premier League wins. 4 straight Premier League wins always transforms where you are in the league if you've had a bit of a tough spell, because that quick hit of 12 points, especially in a congested fixture list, can take you from the midpoint of the bottom half of the table to the midpoint of the top half of the table. But Arsenal are going to miss out on 4 straight Premier League wins unless they can come up with a winner here. In truth, over the course of the piece, Crystal Palace have had the better chances. Benteke has seen a header plucked out of the sky by Bernd Leno. Tompkins has hit the top of the crossbar. Bellerin had an effort from the edge of the area that hit the side netting, but really the chances for Arsenal have been few and far between. Tony Cascarino.
Yeah, well, we saw the best of the chances in the first half for both teams. Second half, it's been a great start in the first 5 to 10 minutes from Arsenal. They look like they've really upped the tempo, but as the games wore on, they've got poorer.
Another chance for Saka to whip in a free kick in the final few seconds of the game. We've got 60 seconds of added time still to play. Smith Rowe makes a dart. Saka with a delivery, aimed towards the far post, and Aubameyang was coming in underneath it. Tompkins did brilliantly. Watched it, glanced it away to safety for Crystal Palace, who surely now have secured their point. They might get more because the ball's broken to Zaha on the halfway line. Very quickly played out to Ayew, who's on the edge of the area, into the box, weaving his way through, tries a strike, takes a cannon, goes out to the far side and out for a corner kick. Well, what an opportunity for Crystal Palace. Not decisive enough when breaking away there, but boy, did they give Arsenal a scare, Tony.
Oh, absolutely. Xhaka fell to the ground. He gave the ball away, and then Wilson runs at the back line, plays it out to Ayew, and he just can't get his shot away. Gets blocked, but he's got a reward of a corner.
Well, maybe the last chance of the game will actually come for Crystal Palace in the final few seconds of the match. We've played our 4 minutes of added time. In fact, we've played 3 minutes of the 4 that have been added at the end of the 90. And Eze is about to take this corner, right-footed, into the 6-yard box, away with a thunderous header by David Luiz, who met that brilliantly and headed it clear towards the halfway line. Chopped back in towards the box, headed down by Tompkins, down to Townsend, who takes it wide, onto Zaha, who's trying to squeeze between the gap between Aubameyang and Saka. It goes back out to Townsend, who whips across in, headed away. Nketiah tries to escape. Kouyate goes to engage. Then MacArthur, one of those dogs in midfield that hunts and growls and scraps and wins terrier-like inside that engine room for Crystal Palace, gives away a free kick. And Arsenal are halted in their tracks once again. Still 0-0. 20 seconds remaining. Away by Ward, flicked on by Townsend. Zaha tries to take on Partey. Good challenge by him. Breaks in midfield. That's the last action of the game. A game which Arsenal will be disappointed with because they didn't create enough once again. A game which Crystal Palace might be disappointed that they didn't go away with more than just the point that they have earned. Look, we're all playing more ball games right now, but Arsenal have just failed to connect 4. Palace, who love to strut their stuff on the big stage, are now 5 unbeaten against the Gunners, but it might have been different if Christian Benteke had been a little bit more ruthless in front of goal. It's finished Arsenal 0, Crystal Palace 0.